When your typical fitness regime is a little more adventurous than a jog around the local park, a regular fitness tracker or smartwatch just isn't going to cut it. Think rock climbing, windsurfing, and hiking into the wilderness without a map, where a rugged build matters more than refined looks. Those are the kind of activities Amazfit had in mind for the T-Rex 2. The Amazfit T-Rex 2 is a rugged sports watch that's a direct rival to devices like the Garmin Instinct 2 and the Polar Grid X, and it's one of the best GPS watches in its class. It's a successor to the original T-Rex from 2020, and the T-Rex Pro, that was released in 2021, and makes big improvements on both of them, particularly when it comes to battery life. There's no mistaking the T-Rex 2 for anything other than a rugged watch. It's properly chunky, with a bit of a G-Shock vibe, especially if you go for the Astro Black and Gold color scheme. The wild green looks a bit Jingle Warfare to us, with our Ember Black review unit being a bit more of an all-rounder. The watch is made from polymer alloy, which was tough enough to shrug off a few accidental bumps and knocks during our testing without picking up any battle scars. It's 10 ATM water resistant, so you'll be able to take it swimming in both the pool and the sea. Two physical buttons on either side of the watch face largely replicate the touchscreen controls, which is ideal when you're wearing gloves. The crown guard on the right side is just for show, though. The thick watch bezel should do its part to keep the screen free from scratches, although given the T-Rex 2 is an affordable watch, there's no sapphire glass here. A screen protector might be a wise move if you want to keep the face looking factory fresh. The silicone strap is suitably tough and has plenty of buckle adjustment holes for a secure fit. There's no quick release, and the fittings are proprietary, so you'll need tools and a compatible band if you're planning to swap it out. Military standard testing is a bit nebulous, given there's no single procedure and manufacturers can come up with their own measurements, but Amazfit is pretty confident in the T-Rex 2's ability to survive against the odds. It's rated for a temperature range of -40 degrees centigrade to +70 degrees centigrade, won't corrode under salt spray or high humidity, resists ice and freezing rain, and can survive shock impacts, although to what degree isn't clear. We didn't fancy taking a hammer to our test unit to find out, but it certainly kept ticking after spray with a garden hose and being lobbed down the stairs. The Amazfit T-Rex 2 is extremely simple to use when you're on the move, with a combination of 4 physical buttons and a touchscreen for scrolling through menus and panning across maps. The touchscreen is locked by default during activity tracking, and the start pause button is protected by its metal bumper to avoid accidental presses when you're rolling up your sleeve to check your stats. The screen's coating was prone to attracting fingerprints, but that was only cosmetic. The Amazfit T-Rex 2 has dual-band GPS positioning, and supports all the major satellite navigation systems, which should allow it to pinpoint your location quickly and accurately even in tricky areas under heavy tree canopies or by cliffs. Each time I selected an outdoor activity for tracking, it only took a few seconds for the watch to beep and signal that it had established a lock. GPS accuracy proved impressive, and the watch tracked our pre-measured 5 kilometers run to within a handful of meters. Importantly, the T-Rex 2 now also allows you to import GPX routes, which you can follow from your wrist, something that was missing from its two predecessors. Although it doesn't have the advanced topographic maps of a top-tier Coros or Garmin watch, the clear OLED display of the T-Rex 2 really comes into its own for wayfinding. Unfortunately, automatic workout tracking didn't prove 100% effective. The watch failed to recognize a 5 kilometers evening club run, despite the movement of my wrist, an increase in heart rate, which was surprising. To be certain your activities are all logged, I strongly recommend activating tracking manually. Amazfit claims up to 24-day battery life for 10 days in heavy usage. My tests bore this out. After a full week tracking a workout every other day, my review unit still had over 50% of its initial charge remaining. Keeping the screen in always-on mode will drain the battery much faster, but I found it wasn't necessary. The watch's gyroscope does a very good job of detecting when you've raised your wrist and illuminating the screen accordingly. In all other respects, though, fitness is well catered for. The T-Rex 2 has an uprated PPG heart rate sensor that can measure blood oxygen and stress levels, plus dual-band 5 satellite GPS, a compass and barometric altimeter for recording location and altitude. It also has a direct return function in case you get lost while adventuring. It can keep track of more than 150 different sports and activities, with the more familiar ones like running, cycling, swimming and strength training near the top, and less everyday events like skiing, snowboarding and triathlons near the bottom. There's an even more in-depth list hiding in the menus, which includes 12 kinds of combat workouts, 31 different ball sports, and even car driving, for some reason. So yeah, it's comprehensive. Tracking accuracy and consistency seemed largely on par with other sports watches we tried, with no GPS dropout. It did read heart rate slightly higher than we were expecting, and the pi metric it uses to judge your overall fitness seems a bit vague. There's also not the greatest support for exporting your data to other apps. Google Fit, Apple Health and Strava make the cut, but that's your lot. The Amazfit T-Rex 2 is a rugged outdoor adventure watch that punches far above its weight. Despite its mid-range price tag, it's packed with premium features like multi-band GPS, GPS, impressive biometric monitoring, a super bright OLED display, and remarkable battery life. The only real drawback was that the automatic activity tracking didn't always initiate, but the T-Rex 2 is otherwise hard to fault, particularly at this price. You can also watch my other videos about Amazfit T-Rex 2 in the description below. Thank you for watching. I hope this video was useful for you. Have a nice day, and see you soon.